Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing good. Haven't been live in a while. I thought I would go live in this sort of weird time period between the holidays and New Year, where everyone's just kind of confused about what day it is, and hopefully have some extra time on your hands to think about piano, which that's what I've been doing. Yeah, things are good with me. Just had a really awesome Christmas with my family. I've got a 15-month-old niece who is the center of attention, trying to get her to play around with the piano a little bit. But had a really awesome time playing Christmas songs with my family, gathering everyone around the piano to sing. And I know I got some emails from people who were doing the same, which is awesome. So yeah, if people want to put in the chat where they're tuning in from, that's always interesting to see. I see Bjorn already put in a chord progression, so I'll get to that soon. But hello, Chicago. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, Michigan, Florida, Toronto. Love Toronto. India. Good to see you. Texas, Amsterdam. I still need to make it to Amsterdam. Bristol. We got some UK in the house. Memphis. Awesome. North Carolina, Finland. Can I please teach Jackson Browns further on? That's a really good idea. Yeah, I need to do more Jackson Brown tutorials for sure. He's one of my favorites, and he has such a great piano style. I want to do a video just breaking down his piano style because it's really elegant. It's just super chord based. He does a lot of sus4, sus2, a lot of kind of stuff where he'll do a different bass note than the right hand chord is playing, but none of it is super hard. So I'm kind of overwhelmed thinking about which Jackson Browne songs to do. That's the only problem. All right, we got France, we've got Australia, Scotland. Cool. So I also wanted to mention that I am running a flash sale right now on both my courses, Piano Chord Breakthroughs and Keys to Chord Progressions. Piano Chord Breakthroughs is my main course that I'm going to be sort of demonstrating the techniques that I teach in that course today. I think a lot of people get stuck, and I was stuck here for a while, sort of knowing how to play chords, knowing how to follow a chord chart. You can see what a chord progression is and sort of play the chords, but then there's this wall between that and really expanding it into a piano part that sounds melodic and smooth and graceful. So that course teaches you sort of the steps. I go through 3 different songs, and each step of the way, first just adding left hand, different arrangements of left hand, thinking about inversions. When you start to think about inversions, rather than just being boxed into playing a C chord like this, you can start to see, okay, there's these different shapes. And if you practice it enough, it's like when you think C major, every single note on the keyboard that is in that chord just sort of lights up, and you can just start playing it and improvising. So that's what that course is all about, and arpeggio, stuff like that. And then my newer course, Keys to Chord Progressions, is sort of a supplemental music theory course that talks about keys, how scales, C major scale, how that defines a collection of notes and the chords that fit into that key, and then how the chords in that key start to take on emotional qualities, like the 1 chord and then the 4 chord, even though it's major. It has a bittersweet reflective quality. And then finally, it teaches you how to transpose into different keys. So I just wanted to mention that up front. Just for the next day, I'm running a sale where you can get both courses together for the price that Piano Chord Breakthroughs normally is $127. So there's a link I think I put at the top. But yeah, I wanted to play some chord progressions. Then I'll just kind of, hopefully I can get to everybody, but if you want to just put questions in the chat, I'll try to answer some questions about whatever, piano but the first comment is from Bjorn, who I know. Bjorn, good to see you. I know Bjorn did piano chord breakthroughs, and he wrote in a chord progression here. So if other people want to just put in a series of chords, I'll see what I can do with them. So Bjorn, you've got C minor, A minor, C minor, F. This will be interesting. Okay, I'm going to try it. Okay, so then the last measure, you said F sus2 to G, and then C. 2 beats up, 2 beats and up 1 octave. Okay, interesting. I'm going to try this kind of like a medium speed, maybe kind of emotional. I see that C minor. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll make this kind of sad. 4/4 time, 2, 3. Cool. I love that change from the C minor to A minor. It's those two chords don't exist in the same key, which is why they sound kind of surprising and a little bit menacing. And then we've got that. Hope that's what you meant there with the 2 beats of C going up an octave. I like it. Okay, let's see. All right. Anthony has C, E, G, A, F. I'm assuming all major. Let's do that maybe a little more energetic. You know what? I'm going to show my hands because when I do the sustain pedal, you just see all the notes. So let me just go to my hands. Hopefully it's not too laggy. I'm going to do this one more time. That one's cool. I really like that. The C to the E. I couldn't quite get my head around how long to stay on each chord, so I just kind of winged it. I think I did it differently each time. Let's see, looks like there's a question. Hi, I have a question for improvising because I write my own songs with improv, but I have some problem getting melodies in both hands. How can I work on that to make the song more easy? Getting melodies in both hands. Are you writing songs? I'm curious if you're writing songs with lyrics for singing or instrumental pieces. I would say if you're just starting writing songs, I wouldn't worry too much about having melodies in both hands. You can easily try to do too much. Think about where, if the melody is coming from your singing, keeping things simple at first with the chords, or if you're writing melody instrumentally, maybe keeping the left hand really simple. I would say just try not to do too much all at once if you're just sort of getting into it, and it sort of will develop as you go. Yes, my hands are a bit blurry. I'm not sure how to fix that. I was desperately scrambling to fix that before I went live, but hopefully that's okay. If anyone wants to write any more chord progressions in the chat, that would be awesome. Also, does anyone have any New Year's resolutions? Maybe some about piano or not. I'm trying to make better tutorial videos for sure. And I'm trying to write more of my own music. So it's cool that some of you are doing that as well. I've learned new songs all the time to teach on YouTube but I'm starting to feel more of an itch for getting back into my own writing and recording. Maybe you could teach how to incorporate melody into an arrangement for songs versus arrangements only for accompaniment with singing. Sure. So this is all thinking with the chord based approach, which is how I do it. So most of the music I play is sort of geared towards piano accompaniment, the kind of stuff you sing over. And it's true that when you're singing, you don't want to distract from the voice too much. Like if you're playing too much with your right hand or your left hand and you're singing, they can kind of fight with each other. But then you have these instrumental breaks, maybe after the first chorus, there's a couple times through the chord progression. And that is a good time to add right hand melody. And I'm thinking about doing a course all about improvising melody. I got to solidify some of my thoughts on it. So the key at first is to keep things really simple with the left hand. Let's say we're on a G major chord. There are kind of two ways to think about it. One is if you know the G major scale, or whatever scale the song, the key of the song is. Maybe we're in the key of C, but we're on a G scale, and so we know we can use all the white keys. Or another way I like to think about it is if you know how to do the sus2 and the sus4. I talk a lot in piano chord breakthroughs about doing different little alterations on the sus2 or sus4. And there's a formula for knowing which is which, so you don't end up on one of the weird sounding notes. But when you add the sus2 or the sus4, and you also have the 3 notes of the chord, there's 5 notes there that you know are going to sound good. And so if we're hanging out on G major, here, I'll go to the other view so the sustain pedal doesn't, and I know it's a little blurry, but hopefully. So just keeping it really simple in the left hand, and then just kind of following your ear using the collection of notes that you've determined will work, again, through the scale or through the sus2, sus4, and the notes of the triad. But one thing I just recommend learning a lot of music, learning songs, whether it's my YouTube tutorials or other people's, whether you use sheet music. The more songs you learn, the more you just kind of get these things in your bones. If you learn a new song and it has a certain rhythm, that little snippets of that rhythm will show up in your improvising. You're like a sponge collecting different rhythms and little melodic ideas that you can then use. If anyone wants to put a new chord progression in, I'd love to improvise on something. Oh, you guys are all very sweet. Thanks for all the kind words. What's the best moment of the day to practice playing, in your opinion? Do you notice any difference in how quick you learn, take in different moments of the day? I think that's really depends on the person. I think the most important thing with piano practice is just to do it regularly, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. And I've talked a bit about that book, Atomic Habits, which has really helped my life. Habit stacking, if you can find a moment of your day where you already have a routine, whether it's feeding your cat or doing the dishes after dinner, if you say, I'm going to practice for 10 minutes every day after I finish the dinner dishes, something like that. In terms of time of day, for me, I've always played more at night. I find that I'm kind of just more in a relaxed flow state, and more likely to just kind of get lost in piano playing at night. But everyone's different. Some people just really do their best work, whether that's piano practice or writing or whatever, just their brain is working best in the morning. So I think that's really person dependent, but I think the key is just to do it regularly as much as you can, and have fun with it, of course, because I think sometimes with piano practice or practicing any instrument, people, maybe it's messaging from when they were a kid, you have to practice an hour a day, or we're not going to keep letting you do piano lessons, or and people get really daunted by that, and then piano just becomes not fun because it's like, oh, I was going to practice a half hour today and now I only have 5 minutes, it's not even worth it. Or just have fun and just do it as much as you can. And if you're having fun, you're more likely to do it. Okay, we got a chord progression here: C, B, C, C minor. Oh, I can already hear that one in my head. That's a classic. Maybe I'll try it like in 6/8 time. That's a lot of songs. That's Creep by Radiohead. It's also My Love, Mine All Mine by Mitski that I just did. That was my most recent tutorial. It's such a good progression. The 1 chord to the major 3 chord, to the 4 chord, to the minor 4. It's classic. There's a good Lana Del Rey. Oh, it's also a space oddity. Ground control to major tom. Yeah. Please hit that thumbs up for Mr. Nate. He's great. Well, thank you, Jim. Yeah, not a morning person. Yeah, I'm not really a morning person either. This is morning for me right now. But is it possible to request a video tutorial for the future? Definitely. I love requests. Most of my songs that I do are requests. I just can never promise that I'm going to do them. A lot of things go into whether I decide to do a song. Sometimes it's just how much I like it, how much I think the people who subscribe to my channel will like it, or just if I feel like I have a good arrangement in me that would be worthwhile teaching. But I read every comment and look at every request, and a lot of them are songs I don't know. I always listen to them, and I've discovered a lot of good songs through everyone's requests. Can you please improvise on the chord progression C minor, G minor, F major, C major? Interesting. Sure. I'll show you my hands for this. Improvising. So C minor. Wow, I really like this. I thought that the C major at the end of the progression to the C minor to loop back around was going to sound weird, but I kind of love it. Like the chord progression ends on this happy note, and then the kind of sad reflectiveness comes back in. Oh, in G minor. Yeah, that's a cool one. I really like that. Thoughts on the 8 or 12 bar blues progression in C or E, or others that you prefer? I don't love 12 bar blues. It's fun. I think I'm not crazy about the emotion of it. It feels, no, it's not happy, but it feels a little emotionally flat to me. I tend to gravitate more towards chord progressions that just evoke like a bittersweet feeling, or But 12 bar blues can be really fun to just improvise over with a blues scale. I do have a video about the blues scale. Um, Still hoping for a tutorial on Piano Man. Yes, I'm intimidated by that one. So if I do a piano tutorial on the Piano Man, would I need to do the really intense solo at the beginning? There's certain things in it that I'm just trying to figure out how to arrange it for my channel. But it's such a good song. I should probably do it. Anthony Douglas says, "I love the 12 bar blues." Awesome. Yeah, it is such a common progression that has endured for decades and decades. It's just for some reason not my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people love it, and that's awesome. Can you make more tutorials on current songs? All you release now are old songs, which are in no means bad. My last tutorial was a current song, a Mitski song, but I will think about that. I've been really enjoying doing the old songs lately, and I've been kind of going with where the requests are. It seems like more people are coming to my channel and requesting old songs, and that's what a lot of the people want to hear. And so I'm enjoying that at the moment. Thanks for doing a video, Daniel, by Elton John. Yeah, that was a fun one. Love to do Bowie. Yeah. Can't Catch Me Now by Olivia Rodrigo. I do like the new Olivia Rodrigo album. Definitely planning on doing more Carole King. That whole album is amazing. Yeah, I have this huge list of songs now. Every time someone writes a good request, I'm like, yeah, I put it on my list, and then the list just keeps getting longer and longer, and it's hard to pick. Yeah, I would like to do more 50s. Does anyone have another chord progression? I'd prefer your interpretation of Piano Man rather than exactly like Billy Joel. Cool, that's good. That's good to hear. I like to simplify. It's hard to figure out how to arrange songs for my tutorials because I I don't want them to be super long and get hung up on little details of, oh, the piano player on the recording happened to do this little melody here and they were just improvising and maybe they didn't do the same way live. But then there's people that want the accuracy. But if I simplify it too much, then it sounds boring. So sometimes it's just a puzzle to figure out. And it's good to hear that people are happy to kind of play my interpretation if it's not exactly like the record. What about some Steely Dan songs? Well, I'm gonna probably record a Steely Dan tutorial tomorrow. I've been working on a Steely Dan song. I've been wanting to do one for a while. Would you do Life on Mars? Yes, I would. That's on my list. Cool. Man, I'm going to have to. I know the YouTube saves the chat, so I'm gonna have to come back and go through all these songs. Stairway to Heaven. That's another one that I'm just like, I want to do it. It's a classic, but that one is just how am I going to nail the arrangement of it? Not have it be too hard, where it plays note for note everything, but not too simplified. Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah, Stairway to Heaven. Okay, I'll think about Stairway to Heaven. Yeah. Yeah. Seeing a lot of people saying Billy Joel. I do, yeah. Billy Joel and Elton John are the ones that I get a lot of requests for and don't do a lot of them because I I get a little hung up on how complicated they are amazing piano players and they're always improvising and their songs are so full of these little melodies and like just alterations and playing around on inversions and I don't want to make the tutorial too hard, but I don't want to simplify it too much. Riders on the Storm. I I do have that on my list as well. The Steely Dan song I'm going to do is Dirty Work. but reeling in the years would be good as well. Does anyone else want to put a chord progression? So in the courses, do you teach music styles like jazz, blues, classical, etc.? So my courses are very geared toward the type of accompaniment styles I play on my channel. So thinking about chord-based piano accompaniment for singing over, or having an accompanist or a singer sing over it, or an instrumentalist doing solos and stuff. I think that I wanted to make things really streamlined towards the goals that a lot of people who come to my channel have. So there's no note reading, there's no classical, but it is chord-based playing, and thinking in a chord-based way is very foundational. So jazz, what I teach in the courses, both of the courses, would be a good foundation for jazz. With jazz, you need to be able to, think about chords and inversions and chord extensions, and then there's sort of more layers on top of that foundation. If you were interested in jazz, you could totally do piano chord breakthroughs and keys to chord progressions, and that would be a good music theory and technique foundation. And then from there, you could dive deeper into jazz specifically. I do foundations in the courses that are relevant for classical in terms of just thinking about technique and rhythm and counting, and finger exercises, that kind of thing. But it is really geared specifically towards chord-based piano accompaniment. Okay, we've got a couple of chord progressions. C, E7, A minor, C7. I'm going to do something slow and pretty on this one. Do my hands again. So this is, John, this is a really nice chord progression. I love, I'll go around again. I really like this moment here, the C7, which really pulls you to the F. It's a very well constructed chord progression. Yeah, that C dominant 7 going to the major chord a fourth above. I talk about that a lot in keys to chord progressions. It's a really strong resolution. And you the song starts based around C, but by the time you get that C7 to the F, all of a sudden F kind of feels like the home base of that chord progression. We got another one, C, E, A, G, any chord type. Maybe I'll have, let's say the E is minor and nothing else is. Let's see what that sounds like. Oh, Bjorn says, Nate, can you call out the chord so we can play along? Sure, let's try that. I'm gonna go a little slower. I'd be curious how many of you are sitting in front of your piano right now. So we've got C, then E7. Oh no, that's the other one. I was just doing. Wait, where did that one go? Oh, okay, yeah. C, then E minor, A major, down to G major, C, E minor, G7 on it. That sounds nice. Okay, let's see. What else? Thank you. Greetings from Costa Rica. Anthony is in front of your piano. Cool. Looks like we got another one from John. We got C, E7, A minor, C7, F. Oh, okay, this is the same one, but then back to G7. That makes sense for helping it come around. G7, C, then turn around on G7. This is really cool, John. Did you write this one? I love this. I could play this all day. F, G7, C. This would be fun to jam on with a band. It makes me wish there was a drummer and a bass player and a guitar player in the room with me. Do I like R&B? Yes. I love Frank Ocean too. I almost did a tutorial on Lost at one point, and then I forgot why I put it to the side. But I love listening to Frank Ocean. I think he's a really amazing artist. Bob Marley, yes. I just put Three Little Birds on my list. I think it'd be fun to do some reggae. I feel like I haven't done any reggae rhythms with playing the chords on the offbeat. So often in my tutorials, we're playing on like 1, 2, 3, 4, or like 1, 2, 3, but not instead of doing the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's always a good vibe. I think I'll do some Bob Marley soon. What else? Okay, so you wanted G, E, A, D. All major? Let me try G, E, A, D, but I'll make the A minor. See how that sounds. The E major might sound weird. I'm going to try it. What should the vibe on this one be? Maybe I'll do a reggae sound. Ooh, yeah. And the E major sounds better than I expected. Once again, I wish I had a drummer with some reverb on the snare. Just curious, do you stay away from certain artists because copyright? I notice you don't do any Bruce Springsteen, but I was surprised to see Eagles. No, not necessarily. So in terms of what I do on YouTube, the copyright, I do get copyright claims on most of my videos, but that's not like a strike to the channel. It just means that in terms of any ad revenue that would come in for that video, it gets shared with the artists who own that song. So I haven't done any Bruce Springsteen, not for any particular reason. I would love to do a Bruce Springsteen song. I like Bruce Springsteen. I've never gotten super deep into his catalog. The reason I haven't done a Bruce Springsteen song yet is because it hasn't been obvious to me which one I should do. So if you have any suggestions, because if I do a new artist, if I do a Bruce Springsteen song, I want to do one of his more popular songs, just because that'll have the most interest when I post it on YouTube. But it seems like his most popular songs aren't particularly piano oriented, and so I just haven't decided which one to do. So that's why, yes, we can edit the drums in post. Drive all night. Yeah, I'll think about it. I'll bump Bruce Springsteen back up to the top of the list. Garth Brooks, yeah, sure, maybe. Springsteen has a ton of piano friendly songs. Okay, I gotta explore him more. Someone asked, can you tell us how many hours of videos are in your courses? Piano chord breakthroughs is between 2 and 3 hours of footage. Keys to chord progressions is a little less, maybe around 2 hours. I think, especially with piano chord breakthroughs, it's more about the practicing. There's a PDF that has all the exercises. And I think that's the way to think about it. I think some people expect to just watch the videos and then suddenly be a great piano player. And it's really about practicing the right exercises in the right order and getting things in your muscle memory. That's the real key. Because you can understand certain ideas. You can understand that, level one is knowing this is a C chord. And then at some point you learn that, oh, if you change the order of the notes in the chord, it's still a C chord, and that offers some possibility. But just knowing that doesn't allow you to improvise on the different inversion shapes and make use of the inversions for melodies, because that comes from really drilling inversion exercises and getting it in your muscle memory so your hands just kind of do it. And that takes dedication. There's no real shortcuts. I think the real shortcut is just having fun along the way, so that it doesn't feel like work and you don't get impatient, and that you feel comfortable with where you're at, knowing that you're improving, and then you'll play more and you'll just naturally get better. But having some regular dedication with these kind of exercises helps a lot. Breakfast in America, Supertramp. Yeah, that would be cool. Which courses to do first? I would recommend piano chord breakthroughs. Piano chord breakthroughs is the one that will really give you the practice roadmap. It starts with just foundations of technique, making sure you have good posture, thinking about counting, finger exercises, and then it'll go through step by step how to, take a chord progression and build on it. And there's exercises over the course of weeks where you will build up your skills. Keys to chord progressions is a little bit more like a lecture series on music theory, to understand keys and what makes chord progressions work. And so I recommend starting with piano chord breakthroughs, and then maybe if you're between levels of piano chord breakthroughs, just kind of taking a few weeks to practice the exercises, you can sort of supplement by watching some of the keys to chord progressions, music theory stuff. Being left-handed, I find inversions invaluable. Yeah, totally. Can you do a chord progression with D major, F sharp major, A major, and G major? Sure. So all major, we got a D, F sharp, A, G. I like that. Should this be... Trying to think of the sort of vibe. I always got to think, okay, we got the chords, but what's the vibe? It's like sort of happy. There's something sort of a little unresolved about that. I'm just realizing, like, it's my impulse right now to be like, okay, I'm going to do something really impressive and fancy with these chords, and there's a time and a place for that. But a lot of times, if I was going to write a song and record a song using this chord progression, and especially if there was singing over it, sometimes just something like just a really simple arpeggio would actually be better. But it's fun to just kind of see what possibilities there are. Yes, my finger camera is kind of fuzzy. I would have to stop the live stream and troubleshoot to fix that. I'm sorry. Next time I go live, I will have that figured out. And hopefully I'll go live more. This is fun. I don't do it. I think I've done it one other time and it was over a year ago. Do I produce my own music? I do. I have generally been doing less of that lately, but I'm actually almost done with a 5-song EP, and I'm going to release that. And that'll be the first music of my own that I've released in many years. I spent a lot of my time as a teenager and all through my 20s playing in bands, and that was really what I was pursuing for a long time. I playing live, recording albums, touring, and I was teaching piano lessons on the side, mostly to kids. And there was just became a point where I realized I was actually more passionate about teaching, at least in terms of what I was pursuing for my career. And I realized I like being a piano teacher more than trying to tour. I do miss playing shows live, but I sort of last few years have been more focused on the YouTube channel, but I have been finding myself coming back to it. And like I said, I have a new 5-song EP that there's 2 songs left to be mixed, and I'm hoping to release that this spring. So that should be fun. Yeah, it'll be good to release some of my own music again. My music, it's tends to be a little bit more psychedelic. There's piano on it, a lot of synthesizers, some guitars. And I sing. Do I use AI to write? I have never. I've played around with it. I was actually writing a song recently, and I had a line that it wasn't quite right, and I knew the number of syllables of words I needed to swap out. And I asked ChatGPT. I said, "Here's this line that I'm writing for a song, and can you think of other options for these words that have this amount of syllables that kind of have the same meaning?" And I didn't like anything it came up with. I was like, okay, never mind. But it was a nice experiment. Thank you, Adrian. That's very nice. Awesome. Thank you. So gonna probably wrap this up pretty soon. This has been really fun. There's been a lot of you here. I think last time I went live, there were not nearly as many people. So that's exciting. If anyone, maybe I'll do 1 or 2. Oh, I missed. Yeah, see, I keep missing comments. So Joe did an interesting looking progression here with a C minor 7, F7, B flat 7, E flat 7. I hear that as wanting to be a major 7, but I'll stick with the dominant, and then A minor 7. So some interesting changes there. Feels jazzy. I'll do kind of slow and reflective on this one. That A minor 7 to my ear really wants to go to a D, which really wants to go to a G. That's a cool thing about 7th chords, especially dominant 7th chords. They really kind of pull you. I talk a bit about that in keys to chord progressions. We hear that dominant 7 and you really want the chord to go up a fourth higher. Okay. Any more Radiohead coming? Probably. Just got to figure out which one to do. Yeah, like I want to do maybe Pyramid Song or Like Spinning Plates. Some of the deeper cut piano cuts are some of my favorite songs of all time. You know, like I said, I consider a lot of different questions when I decide what songs to do. And, you know, sometimes I worry that deeper cut songs are not going to have as much interest. Because it's a lot of work for me to make one of the videos. And sometimes it's a bummer to make a video for a song that I really love, but not a lot of people know. And then, you know, not too many people watch it. But Radiohead was my first favorite band ever. Was the Beatles, all growing up as a kid, nothing but the Beatles. And then I was into a lot of hip hop in middle school. And then Radiohead when I was in late high school was just, I only listened to Radiohead for a few years. Pyramid Song does sound rough to teach. The rhythm is really hard. You're right. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna do, there's a couple more chord progressions here. I'm gonna do this D minor 7, G7, C major 7. Oh, just a classic 2, 5, 1, which is so much of jazz is just a series of 2, 5, 1s. Cool. Okay. John with what looks like a pretty intense one. Let's see. C, B minor 7, flat 5, E7. All right, I'm gonna just kind of feel my way through this one. I'll take it slow. So. A minor, G minor 7, C7, F, A minor 7, D7, G7. I like that C, B minor 7 flat 5 to the E7. Those minor 7 flat 5s are in isolation. They're a little bit weird, but depending on where you are coming from and where you go, they can sound really cool. Thank you for the video on rhythms. I'm a beginner/intermediate working on learning rhythm and chord progressions. Yeah, I'm wondering. I've done a few videos on rhythms. I should do more. And there's a lot of rhythm work in piano chord breakthroughs. A lot of just getting different rhythms between the hands in your muscle memory. Stand By Me by Elvis Presley, and that is different than the other Stand By Me that I know that John Lennon covered. I'm blanking on the original artist. I'm sure one of you can tell me. Thanks, John. John, you've been contributing some pretty interesting chord progressions today. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap up here. This was really fun. Thank you for all coming and bringing the energy. Oh yes, Benny King, thank you. And yeah, I just wanted to mention one more time, I am doing a flash sale right now. There's a link, I think, at the top of the chat that I put in. It's just pianowithnate.com/flash sale for the next day until the end of the day tomorrow. You can get Piano Chord Breakthroughs, which is my technique course to show you get things in your muscle memory to be able to expand on chord progressions like I just did. And then also Keys to Chord Progressions, which is more a music theory course thinking about scales and how they define keys and what makes a chord progression work. Um, piano chord breakthroughs, I want it to be really straight to the point where if you already have a chord progression, you know that it's C, E, F. What can you do once you find those chords? What rhythms can you play? How can you interpret it into something really musical? But I made keys to chord progressions to kind of tackle a different question, which is, well, how do you know what chords are going to sound good together in the first place? What do different chord changes do emotionally for the listener? And a lot of that is understanding different scales that are, the major scale is a collection of notes with which you can build a series of chords. So you can get both those courses for the price of one for the next day. So definitely check that out. But if not, I hope that you keep enjoying my YouTube videos. I've got a lot coming up. I've taken a little bit of a pause at the end of the year here, just to kind of regather myself, and I'm learning a bunch of new songs to teach. Like I said, going to be recording a Steely Dan song tomorrow. Got a new Beatles song working up. Scarlett, yes, it is still live, although it's about to not be. I'm gonna head out, and I'm gonna go work on that Steely Dan song. Actually, is what I'm gonna do this afternoon. Figure out exactly how I want to teach it. So thank you everybody for joining me. Yes, and Happy New Year. Yeah, we'll be hanging out more in the new year. I'll do more of these live streams. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.